What pictures flit past your eyes when you think about ancient Egypt? For many of us, the mental pictures we conjure up are of those of golden sand dunes stretching as far as the eye can see. Cursed mummies were hidden deep in dark corridors, and of course, the great pyramids of old jutting up from the barren desert. But what was ancient Egypt really like? And what secrets do these ancient tombs conceal? In this video, we're going to reach deep into those graves of old and bring to light the most terrifying secrets from ancient Egypt. The Ancient Hieroglyphs Lie. Fake news, it would seem, is a problem as old as Egypt, or about 5,000 years if you want to get into the nitty-gritty. Hieroglyphs show us beautiful pictures of kings and queens of ancient Egypt, but these delicate works of art are shrouded in secrets. What are those dark secrets lurking behind the ink, portraying slender and powerful kings and queens? Well, mostly it's a lie. It would seem from the evidence gathered from unearthed mummies that many of the royal family from ancient Egypt struggled with their weight. The royal families and rich of ancient Egypt enjoyed posh lives of comfort and ease, coupled with a heavy diet of beer, bread, and honey, which didn't exactly produce the strongest, most fit rulers. Feeding the dead. The dead needed to eat. This concept might be hard for those of us living in the 21st century to wrap our heads around, but in ancient Middle East, it was common knowledge. The dead, while being physically removed from the world of the living, continued to exist in an afterlife similar to the world of the living. As such, they continued to have needs that had to be met, such as food. During his life, the pharaoh would prepare for his inevitable death by stockpiling his tomb with everything he might need, kind of like an ancient twist on modern-day preppers. In many of the tombs that have been uncovered, archaeologists have found mummified pieces of meat. That is exactly what it sounds like. They would take whatever cuts of meat the pharaoh liked and mummify it. We're talking ribeye steak wrapped in mummy clothes. But hey, at least they had enough to eat. Mummifying pets. The ancient Egyptians liked their pets a lot. This might be one of the most relatable things we in the 21st century have in common with the pharaohs of old. We too really like our pets. And while we enjoy putting shoes, jackets, and costumes on our pets, the ancient Egyptians took it a step further. They loved their pets so much that they were buried with them. If a pet died before its owner, the solution was easy. The pet was mummified and placed in the tomb to await its master. But what about those times when the master went into the afterlife first? In some cases, pharaohs would leave instructions for their pets to be taken care of until their natural death, at which point it was mummified and placed in the tomb. But what about those instances where no instructions were explicitly given? In many cases, the pharaoh's beloved pet was killed so that it could be mummified and placed in the tomb along with its dead owner. Horrifying process of mummification. Only the social elites were mummified. This rite was reserved for the likes of the pharaoh, high-ranking officials, and rich citizens. It was a complicated process that involved magic, special prayers, and the removal of all organs. And it took about 75 days to complete. The first step in this gruesome ordeal was to remove all internal organs but the heart. The Egyptians believed that the heart was the center of the person's being, and so that was left in place. Next, using a specialized hook, the embalmer would carefully insert the hook through the nostril and begin the process of pulling the brain out through the nose, being careful not to damage the face. After the brain and internal organs were removed, the body needed to have the moisture dried out. Embalmers would place natron, a special kind of salt, on the body to achieve this purpose. After the body was dried, the chest cavity was filled with linens and chopped straw to give a better shape to the mummy. At this point, the body was wrapped in the iconic mummy wrap and placed in its casket. The pharaoh was now ready for rebirth in the afterlife, and his corpse was placed in his tomb. We hope you enjoyed another episode of History Bazaar. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the fastest growing history channel on YouTube.